I'm Terrence James, and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions, and where we believe it should be how the facts feel on road that drives your decision and nothing else. And today I'm so excited because they have announced the other day in the Los Angeles Auto Show that we could not attend that the Honda Prelude concept looks like it would probably become a real thing in the next few years as a hybrid four-cylinder front-wheel drive 2+2 coupe. So that's super exciting. So what I want to do today is look at some of the footage from some of our favorite reviewers who were able to go, like Alex on Auto's Redline Reviews and Raiti's Rides, to use some of their footage to look at what they got to share with us, talk about it amongst enthusiasts here, what you think, and what it might be like to drive, and lead to our final thoughts. And at the end, I want to show you Honda's press release that just came out as well to give us a little bit of a teaser that this might actually happen. So let's take a look. All right, and we're off. So as I said, I don't think I could be more excited, because growing up, the Honda Prelude, especially that 5th generation, was when I was most interested in cars and things like that. And my friend had one that I worked with, and a nice one too that he put some money in and everything else like that. And it was actually the top of the line one, which we'll talk about in a second. And it was incredible, and I absolutely love that thing. So I'm so excited about this. But with that being so, I'm a little on the fence about the styling, and I don't know about you. Now, when I mean on the fence, I actually really like it. I think it's super attractive. I own a coupe. I'm in a BRZ right now, BRZ Studios. But seriously, I do like that look, obviously. But I think it's got almost a look of the next generation GR86 Toyota GR86, or the Subaru BRZ electric hybrid type look to it, to me. And it also has a little miniature Nissan Z, especially in the back, and directly in the back there, with the lights and everything. But yeah, no, so I definitely like the look of it. But what I mean is, it's the problem with having such an iconic design. That 5th generation one, I just thought was so gorgeous. It was so low looking and flat looking, and rear wheel drive looking, even though ironically it was front wheel drive, an awesome front wheel drive. So I kind of wish that it would keep that type of styling again on the outside. Now, ironically, back then that car's dimensions were almost identical to this here, for height, width, length, and wheelbase, and the whole shoot match. But it did look distinctively very low and flat, which I really like. So that's what I mean in the appearance of this one. It just doesn't seem to have that anymore. It looks more, like I said, like a new BRZ or something like that, but I do like it. So I don't know what you think. Other styling points that, that I really do like, and when we do talk about that, what I mean is, like, for instance, with the new C8 Corvette, it's an amazing car, and it's probably well, it is not probably, it's selling like hotcakes. It is the great look for having a mid-engine car, and it's very European looking. But I was always kind of secretly hoping that the C8 would be looking like the 60s Stingrays that I really liked. And again, that's the same kind of idea with this. I was kind of hoping that the appearance would be a little bit different in that. And also, when you look at that, although I like the rear hips, how they look muscular and wide on this vehicle, here again, it's a bit fake, right? Because kind of like when you look in an old Corvette or something, or a sports car, even nowadays, even though it's more common not to have a manual transmission, you're always a little bit disappointed. And the same with this. It looks rear-wheel drive, it looks masculine and muscular, yet at the end of the day, that it's probably only the front-wheel drive, the front wheels that are turning. However, there is a chance that it could go all-wheel drive, and if that's the case, that would make sense for those flared-out fenders back there. So all in all, I do like the overall shape and look and everything else like that, and I think it looks cool. It does look new age without going over the top, so it still does look distinctively Honda on that front grille, I think, with the shape of it. And I like the way that they've kind of split those LED lights up, and you got that nice light across on the front as well for the daytime running lamps, and you do as well in the back with that light bar, which looks really cool. And on both front and back, you see that little vertical blue light. Well, nowadays that indicates something electric, right? So that is a pretty cool styling feature I really like on there as well. And again, there's carbon everywhere, so this probably is going to fit in the lineup. We'll talk about price and competition in a second, where the original Prelude and then the successor, the Honda Accord two-door, took off, and then in the 10th generation Civic, we did have a two-door Civic Sport there. So hopefully, this will kind of fill that void in between kind of a Honda, which is sporty, and your Acura, which is a little bit more premium. So in there you probably have that room here, because it looks like you're going to have lots of performance, which we'll talk about some of the things like that in a second, but it looks like you also have a lot of that more premium look with all these different types of touches and things that you have from the Acura. Now, Alex on Auto said when he peeked in the window there that it kind of looked like a mix in between your modern Honda styling for the inside and your modern Acura, like the Type S there, which would make sense, right? Because again, it should kind of fill that void, and we'll talk about price and competition in a second, but as far as styling goes, it kind of has to fit that void there. And I kind of like the Type S, you know, because I really do like that new Honda, that new linear, simpler looking dash, but I do kind of like the cockpit style of the Type S that the Acura brings, and the little premium touches and more materials and things like that. But still talking about the outside on the styling, aside from those carbon pieces and things like that, like even if you look at the rear wing on the back, it's just not like my car where it's a flat wing. You know, you actually have some interesting things there. You got some nice design features. I don't know, maybe it'll be practical as well, but that looks pretty neat. And when we come down in the back there, it looks like they've broken it up with that gloss black, kind of like on my bumper as well, to break that up. I know not everybody likes gloss black, but it looks premium. But one thing I'm a little disappointed on, which I understand in the hybrid era, is it's missing exhaust on there. I really like the 3 exhaust pipes. I really do on the Type S and the Type R. So I don't know about you on there. But yeah, just all in all, I really like the bigger, more muscular look. Now, one of the downsides to it, not so much from a styling perspective, because you can't really tell, but when we move into the facts, is it looks like it's a trunk only. Now, on my B or Z, I love my little trunk, and it has so much room. It's incredible how much space. I was just telling my friend the other day that not planning on sleeping in my car, but I could actually fold down the back seats and not only put my snow tires and things like that, but, you know, I'm only 5'7", 150 pounds, but I could curl up and have a nap back there. So it's kind of cool. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of space in this 2+2 little coupe, but you know, it does make it a lot easier if you could have more like the new Type R hatch style rear there to come up. So I don't know, it looks like this is a production ready vehicle, at least from the exterior, so I don't know if they would make that kind of change. It's probably on purpose, obviously, because they've got their body on white, things that they can only do so many things with. But anyway, just that would be nice. And you know, again, when we talk about other styling pieces, you've got these awesome looking 20-inch wheels. Now that's interesting that they've gone to 20. I shouldn't say interesting because it is a prototype, so it has to look awesome, right? And what I mean, you know, what I am surprised is because the FK8 had the 20s and it looked great and they performed well on track, but I got the chance to drive that car and they were very, very harsh. Like I went over a tiny curb, and I don't mean a curb like when you're going up into a parking lot somewhere where it kind of dips down like this, and even though it's that big, it was like boom, boom, and I could hear it almost sounded like it bottomed out, and I thought I broke the car, and I could see why they have gone down to the 19s on the new FL8. So makes a lot of sense there, but good looking wheels. And in behind, actually the rubber on there is impressive too, because as you can see, they say that it's got 245 35s on there. Now that's impressive because my car, being the sportier BRZ, I have 215 45s on there. So again, this is a similar size car, and 245 is the same width as the WRX, which is a bigger car. It's more of your 4-door Honda Civic width. So, and the Type R now uses 265. So that's a pretty meaty tire, but it makes sense because, as we'll talk about with the powertrain, they've increased the power. Now that original, back in the day, you know, it was a lighter car, it was a Honda, right? But I was surprised, I couldn't remember. I would have thought for sure it was in the 2,000 something pound range, but it wasn't. It was about 3,100 pounds, which is about 300-ish pounds heavier than this, and about 200 pounds heavier than the current 4-door Civic. So it was, you know, okay, but it had it was 100 horsepower per liter. It had that I can't remember the code of it, but it had that awesome 4-cylinder VTEC, 200 horsepower, 156 pound-feet of torque engine, which is similar to the power figures of my car currently. So that's a lot, and you know, it moves it along pretty good. So this one here is probably going to use the 2-liter double overhead cam 16-valve Atkinson's 4-cylinder with a lithium battery, shared with the CRV, probably tuned to make it sportier and stuff like that, but generally have that powertrain, and which would mean, out of the CRV, if I didn't mention that, hybrid, which would mean it would probably be direct drive. Now that would, to me, be a disappointment. I know a lot of cars like the C8 and things like that are going exclusively with an automatic transmission, but this, truly being an enthusiast vehicle without that same level of performance to match something like a C8 to kind of make up for the fact that you're missing that huge component of an engagement piece? I don't know. And again, I don't know enough about the business to know, marketing wise, what they want to do and not do with this car, and they don't want to cannibalize their own sales with the Type R or the SI, things like that has that shifter. So who knows? But I personally think, what do you think? I think it would be a mistake not to have that in there. But yeah, and I, when we talk about some of the other things, it looks, as you can see, like it would have independent rear suspension on there. So again, shared with the Honda, so it should handle really well. And I was amazed at that SI. I was always so hard on the SI. I never drove one. I had an SRT4, and I've had other enthusiast vehicles. I have a GTI, I've got the BRZ here, and things, and had other vehicles, but for some reason I was always stayed away from it. I always thought you had to have the Type R. It was the only way, but I was lucky enough this year, Honda let me borrow a brand new SI. Check out that video after this one. I think you'd enjoy it. But anyway, that car blew my mind. First of all, I couldn't believe it was under 3,000 pounds, and front wheel drive, that LSD is just incredible, and it had a ton of power, it seemed like, at that price level. So yeah, no, I was really, really impressed. So we'll see with this. Well, I lost the camera there, so we'll use this one. So that happens when you're shooting live. So anyway, now what I would say too is, it looks exciting because you have Brembo brakes, two-piece rotors there, which is exciting, on those awesome 20-inch rims and everything else. Now, again, a lot of these carbon pieces and the two-piece rotors and the Brembo brakes and things like that, I would imagine it's probably going to be on some sort of premium package, which is going to be like back in the day with that S-Type SH, which was a super handling package. That was the one my friend had, and that was absolutely incredible, that car. I absolutely love that thing. And when we talk about that, that's kind of leads us into some fields. So of course, nobody's got to drive that car. I'm obviously not driving it, but just from how it's described and things like that, it sounds like quite a machine. Because you have to keep in mind that even though it's going to be a hybrid electric, which not everybody likes because it probably won't sound awesome and things like that, it should be pretty peppy, because that CR-V was pretty peppy that I got to drive. It was quite impressive. So you should have that extra power to make up for the extra weight that you're going to get with the batteries. But those batteries aren't necessarily a bad thing when it comes to driving dynamics, because they're going to probably be flat packed and be low. And then again, with this likely SH type package that they might bring out with all the carbon, part of that carbon was a roof. So it's going to bring down that center of gravity and make this feel a lot better on road. Now, I got to drive the new Sporty Mini Electric. Now, it was a little bit emotionless. It really was, if I'm honest. However, it did drive like it was on rails, and they were able to do it in a way that that Mini was still about 3,100 pounds. So they only added about 300 pounds, but it had a little bit more power. So aside from the emotionlessness, it still did drive pretty good. So that did kind of make me a bit upset, because I thought, driving that Mini, I lost a little hope for the future of electric vehicles, because that's their fun one, right? So, but I was also lucky enough to be able to borrow a Kia EV6 GT, which is kind of, they joke around in their marketing, the Lamborghini Urus competitor, at least for dynamic numbers, like how good it is on track, or I shouldn't say track, 0 to 60 and, on the skid pad and things like that. But that vehicle gave me hope as an enthusiast, because there was little vibrations in the steering wheel, even though it's an electric, drive-by-wire type system, and the same with the brakes and things like that. It was all trickery, but it did at least give me the impression that people know that it's important, and they tried to bake that in there. So I was pretty impressed. But when we talk about feels like that original one, they really do have to do a good job, because my friend took me out in his. Now granted, he did spend some money on it, but still, that car was amazing from the get-go. And I'd recommend that you watch the Redline review that they did a few years back on the 5th generation. It's amazing, and he's got a smile on his face the whole time, as I would if I was listening to that VTEC engine, right? Just screaming away. Oh, I tell you, what an engine. But yeah, so that car, it's going to be hard to match, because that car could handle. It was like it was on rails, and again, just the sound of it, and and the way that the on-road presence, you know, and the way it looked, but it was a Honda, so it was affordable, and it was, you know what I mean by affordable, it was still expensive. It would be like priced as it probably would be coming out today, which we'll talk about in a second, but for a lot of people it was aspirational, and you know, it was a Honda, so it lasted, and you could put tons of miles on it. It was pretty, well, that engine wasn't the most efficient or the best on gas, but again, compared to other sports cars and things like that, it was a Honda. It was pretty good. So yeah, we'll see with this one. We really will, to see, you know, if they're able to bake in that type of amazing driving experience. And I have a lot of confidence in Honda because they really are trying to do that near the end here as we're transitioning over. So hopefully they carry that over too. So as you can see there on screen, there is that thing, the long-awaited press release. So, you know, it is a bit of a teaser. They don't officially say they're going to bring it out, but as all the reviewers said, it does look production ready on the outside. They've got the powertrains to put in there. They're testing the waters right now. So leave lots of comments, lots of likes. Hopefully Honda will see it, and as well as the other reviewers. And if it's a car you like and it's a car I like, hopefully they will bring it out. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next time.